Hi, and welcome to the 2023 WikiNobel editathon. In about 10 minutes, the Norwegian Nobel Committee will announce this year's Peace Prize Laureate. And what happens next? Well, volunteers in Oslo and elsewhere in the world are all set. They will be updating Wikipedia and the other Wikimedia projects at a lightning speed. We're talking minutes or seconds even. But before we get down to business, as you probably know, most things Nobel happen in Sweden, but not the Peace Prize. So let's go on a quick tour of Nobel sites in Oslo. So we're in Northern Europe, Norway, and Oslo is the innermost point of the Oslo fjord. And here, right in the city centre, is the Nobel Institute. The Norwegian Nobel Committee is appointed by our parliament, and this room is where they meet to discuss Peace Prize candidates. So that was the Nobel Institute, but normally WikiNobel takes place at the Nobel Peace Center, which is a former train station. Unfortunately, it's under restoration this year, so we swapped an old train station for a former bank. This is Centralen, where our office is. Or actually, we're in a large co-working space in a building that's packed with interesting organizations and events. Let's head on in and join the others. It's quite a maze of a building. Well, actually, it's two buildings merged into one. And here's the old bank, still with a vault. But we're heading further up. We're going all the way up, up, here actually, beyond the ceiling. And now we're getting closer.
Morning. You're not off?
Hey. Nice to see all of you. Some of you.
Hello.
The community, what was it now? Community outreach in Wikimedia. Something we hold every Peace Prize. And I'm here with, you want to introduce? Or?
Bjarne Bjørnevik. I am a communications coordinator at Wikimedia Norge.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. You've met me briefly already.
I'm Jermaine. I'm just an editor.
You good?
Yeah, again.
Prize is announced in, so we're just going to put on this.
Let's see.
Insan, Zendagi, Azadi. Women, life, freedom. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2023 to Narges Mohammadi for her fight against the oppression of women in Iran and her fight to promote human rights and freedom for all. Her brave struggle has come with tremendous personal cost. Altogether, the regime has arrested her 13 times, convicted her 5 times, and sentenced her to a total of 31 years in prison and 154 lashes. Ms. Mohammadi is still in prison as I speak. In September 2022, a young Kurdish woman, Masha Gina Amini, was killed in the custody of the Iranian morality police. Her killing triggered the largest political demonstrations against Iran's theocratic regime since it came to power in 1979. Under the slogan, "Woman, Life, Freedom," hundreds of thousands of Iranians took part in peaceful protests against the authorities' brutality and oppression of women. The regime cracked hard down on the protests. More than 500 demonstrators were killed. Thousands were injured, including many who were blinded by rubber bullets fired by the police. At least 20,000 people were arrested and held in custody. The motto adopted by the demonstrators, "Woman, Life, Freedom," suitably expresses the dedication and work of Narges Mohammadi. Woman, she fights for women against systematic discrimination and oppression. Life, she supports women's struggle for the right to live full and dignified lives. This struggle across Iran has been met with persecution, imprisonment, torture, and even death. Freedom. She fights for freedom of expression and the right to independence, and against rules requiring women to remain out of sight and cover up their bodies. The freedom demands expressed by demonstrators apply not only to women, but to the entire population. In the 1990s, as a young physics student, Narges Mohammadi was already distinguishing herself as an advocate for equality and women's rights. After concluding her studies, she worked as an engineer as well as a columnist in various reform-minded newspapers. In 2003, she became involved with the Defense of Human Rights Center in Tehran, an organization founded by the Nobel Peace Prize Laureate Shirin Ebadi. In 2011, Ms. Mohammadi was arrested for the first time and sentenced to many years of imprisonment for her efforts to assist incarcerated activists and their families. 2 years later, after her release on bail, Ms. Mohammadi immersed herself in a campaign against the use of death penalty. Iran has long been among the countries that execute the highest proportion of their inhabitants annually. Just since January 2022, more than 860 prisoners have been punished by death in Iran. Her activism against the death penalty led to the rearrest of Ms. Mohammadi in 2015 and to a sentence of additional years behind walls. Upon her return to prison, she began opposing the regime's systematic use of torture and sexualized violence against political prisoners, and especially women, that is practiced in Iranian prisons. Last year's wave of protests became known to the political prisoners held inside the notorious Evin prison in Tehran. Once again, Ms. Mohammadi assumed leadership. From prison, she expressed support for the demonstrators and organized solidarity actions among her fellow inmates. The prison authorities responded by imposing even stricter conditions. Ms. Mohammadi was prohibited from receiving calls and visitors. She nevertheless managed to smuggle out an article which the New York Times published on the one-year anniversary of Mahsa Jina Amini's killing. The message was, "The more of us they lock up, the stronger we become." From captivity, Ms. Mohammadi has helped to ensure that the protests have not ebbed out. Narges Mohammadi is a woman, a human rights advocate, and a freedom fighter. In awarding her this year's Nobel Peace Prize, the Norwegian Nobel Committee wishes to honor her courageous fight for human rights, freedom, and democracy in Iran. This year's Peace Prize also recognizes the hundreds of thousands of people who in the preceding year have demonstrated against the theocratic regime's policies of discrimination and oppression targeting women. Only by embracing equal rights for all can the world achieve the fraternity between nations that Alfred Nobel sought to promote. The award to Narges Mohammadi follows a long tradition in which the Norwegian Nobel Committee has awarded the Peace Prize to those working to advance social justice, human rights, and democracy. These are important preconditions for lasting peace. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
and the article about the Nobels and various Wikidata. And that's what we're busy doing here.
So how many Wikipedias and Wikidata entries, etc., have we done so far?
Well, so far, let's see. Currently, there's been 2 new articles on her already. even though it's already been less than 10 minutes since the prize was announced. That's in Russian and Bengali. And usually we get, we monitor the new articles in all. And depending on the winner, who is the laureate, there's usually like between, 15 to 20 new articles within the first hour after the prize has been announced. But it depends. Like if the laureate is someone that is well known already, like say, then obviously you won't get new articles, but you'll still have articles that are updated. But in this case, Nargis had, let's see, well, she had 17 articles before this prize. So I expect that to double perhaps within and within the next few days. Obviously, there will be even more as Wikipedias are. Yeah.
Well, Axel, good morning. Axel just shared the Swedish version, page version. Now let's see what's going on there. Lots.
Jag tror att det kom 4 rader om att hon hade tilldelats Nobelpriset innan någon började städa upp och tänkte att det räcker att det står en gång i artikeln. Att det var många som var på hugget då.
Yes.
Redigerade direkt.
That's brilliant. Because everyone's quite busy now. So I took the opportunity to talk to some of our people yesterday. And I spoke to Jörgen for quite a long while yesterday evening, because Jörgen has taken part in WikiNobel ever since it started every single year. So I'm going to see if I can show you what he had to say. Because believe it or not, but editathons, watching people edit, isn't necessarily exciting TV. So this isn't the first time you're attending WikiNobel, but when was the first time?
First time we had it was in 2016, and that was also my first time. And I've been present all the times after that, except for the pandemic years, of course.
Yeah, and I was there last year, and I was really impressed by how quickly everything happened.
Yes.
We're talking seconds.
Yes. And that's kind of what makes it, for me, it's the speed that goes, it's the knowledge that we all have and can process really fast.
Well, that's really good, because Wikipedians are kind of nerds when it comes to reading page logs.
Yes.
And if you look at the page logs on the announcement day, what do they look like?
They are, in Norwegian especially, it's first really, really short. It's basically a sentence about who has won it, and he has won it or she has won it. And then you see the bigger and bigger and bigger, and in the end you have a really good article.
So it's about speed and growth.
So when it happens, you have to be quick.
But how do you prepare?
Me and myself, I have a list of the favorites. So of course, no, it's many years that they are the same favorites, so it's not so much to prepare, but it is about having the small steps. And for example, this year the favorites are from Iran, so then maybe we prepare a bit from the Iranian woman or the Iranian that is the favorites.
So that's your guess for this year's award?
Well, they are the favorites, but except for maybe last year and the year before, favorites are not the one that gets it. So I really don't have any clue, but I'm guessing it has something to do with the women's rights in the end. And I hope so too.
Final question. Will you be here next year as well?
Of course. Of course. And the next year. And the next year.
So that was Jørgen. He just left the room as we played that. So how's it going? What's happening? Bjarne, is there any news?
No particular questions as of yet. But we're open for questions. If anyone's wondering about something, just ask in any of the channels.
Since I last spoke, there's been 2 new articles, one in Sami, made by Kimberly, and one in Indonesian. So
what's the total count?
21 at the moment, 4 new ones. That's the prize was announced.
So 21 articles have been edited, and we've got 4 brand new ones in.
I'm not sure if they've all been edited, because I don't understand all of these languages.
Well,
but
looks like most of them have been.
Mm-hmm.
If some of our online participants want to comment or ask questions or share whatever, then raise your hand and feel free to join in.
I sent the link in the chat. I don't know if the link works, but I figure you and Harald can probably work it out otherwise with the page views for the announced winners for the week for the last 10 days. And it's interesting to see that the biggest interest so far has been for Jon Fosse. And of course, today's winner is not in the statistics yet, so it will look different tomorrow. But it's interesting to see the number of views for the winners for the last days or when they are announced.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look similar in Norwegian?
This is for Swedish?
Yes.
Let's see.
I'm from Sweden. I share Swedish statistics. Norwegian statistics, I think you have them available.
Yeah, I have to re-enter all the winners in the form there. So it's going to take me a couple of minutes.
Don't you think you can just change from SPF?
That's what I tried, but it just the articles.
Sorry.
Fine.
But Axel, I hear that you have quite a lot to do with the Nobel Museum in Stockholm.
We have done quite a lot with the Nobel museums during the years. Yeah, it's been a lot of interesting cooperations and editathons and events at the museum. So presentations and teacher nights and things like that. So they're a good partner of ours. Now we're eager to see what the new Nobel Center will be like in 10 years or whenever it will be finished with the new building and everything that's part of it.
Well, maybe you could have like a house Wikipedian.
That would be a great thing to have. The Nobel Prize Committee they're really good at working with Wikidata. They are doing same as connections from their database to Wikidata. So instead of replicating data in different places, they are taking advantage of the strength of Wikidata to say where people come from and where they have studied and who they are, so they don't have to own all data themselves, and Wikidata don't have to replicate everything into Wikidata. So it's a good partner.
Well, to me, it sounds like we need to come over and visit to learn more about what you're doing, because we want to do more of the same.
You are welcome anytime.
Brilliant. We're fortunate enough today to have Fredag also with us. He's Secretary General of the People's Academy, Folkeakademiet in Norwegian, and one of our up-and-coming partners. So nice that you've joined us.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Oh, that's good. It was nice to have the invitation to take part in this event, and of course, the Nobel Peace Prize is an important event, and symbolically and a reality for the world, and being a part of Folkeakademiet, we are focusing on communing facts and create and increased understanding among people and have debates based on facts. So, and our focus now is on how we could focus on democratic values, on respect for human dignity and equality, as well as the value of diversity. And of course, the work that you are doing in Wikimedia is very important. So we are very much looking forward to see whether we could find a way to cooperate in the future. And I think as the world develops, facts and the access for real facts in our societies is very important. So thank you for inviting and letting me take part here today.
Wonderful to have you here. And also, I have to mention that Folkeakademiet is actually older than the Nobel, well, older than Alfred Nobel, almost.
Yeah, it started, in fact, back in Norway in 1885, and this was a kind of movement coming from Great Britain, where you had a typical society with dominated by a political and economical elite, and at that time it was important to raise the knowledge among people in the nation, and that came to Scandinavia as the labor academies, which was the start of a Folkeakademi in Norway. And of course, the society has changed since in 1885, but what we see today with instability in the security political situation, there is a decrease in democratic values all over the world, and also the debate about climate as well as diversity. So I think the access to facts is very important, and therefore what you do is of crucial importance for the society as such, but also for us as an organization that want to increase the engagement about people, about based on facts, and have a real debate, because we can't take for granted the good country we live in, like in Norway and comparable countries. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Børge, for coming and for talking to us about your movement, which is very similar to us, I have to say. And of course, not older than Alfred Nobel, but certainly older than the Nobel Peace Prize. So how are we doing? What are the stats like? Jon Harald, Bjarne?
Yeah, there's one new article in Uzbek, maybe more. Let me check. Yeah, one in Uzbek, And there's been a lot of edits on the Wikidata item, adding labels and descriptions in various languages like Slovak and Czech and Russian and, well, plenty of languages.
Well, I look forward to sum up the stats later on today. Also, if someone's watching the live stream, if you sign up on the dashboard, what you edit on what you edit on Nobel-related topics will be registered on the dashboard, count towards our statistics, and you'll also be part of a gift card draw, which we'll sort out on Monday. So register on the dashboard, please do. It helps us keep good statistics. So we have one final little video clip, because both Jørgen and our staff, Anna, their guess about the laureate, came in actually. So, so let's see what Anna had to say earlier on today.
Siden 1901 har Nobels fredspris blitt delt ut 103 ganger til 137 mottakere. 27 organisasjoner har fått prisen, men visste du at bare 18 kvinner har blitt tildelt Nobels fredspris, sammenlignet med 92 menn? Jeg jobber i Wikimedia Norge med å styrke kvinneandelen på Wikipedia. Det betyr å rekruttere flere kvinner til å skrive på Wikipedia, og dermed bidra med mer kunnskap fra og om kvinner. For også på verdens største nettleksikon er kvinner langt mindre synlige enn menn, i bidrag og i innhold. Min oppfordring i dag er å løfte fram kvinner som har jobbet for fred i verden. Så hvem tenker du kunne fått Nobels fredspris? Skriv den artikkelen du selv kunne tenke deg å lese, om en kvinne som har fortjent en plass i historien om internasjonalt fredsarbeid.
Sorry, I'm talking to a muted microphone. Thank you, Anna. That's a really good call to action to take away from today's little event. And I think it aligns nicely with what we're doing the entire year, not just for the Nobel announcement, but our work to help do something about the gender gap on the Wikimedia projects. So that's Anna's responsibility moving forward, which is something we're also working with Folkeakademiet on. So is there anyone else that would like to share something or have any comments or thoughts about today's winner? Are there any questions in the Etherpad or in the YouTube chat or elsewhere, Bjarne?
There hasn't been any questions, so maybe people are busy editing.
I guess they are. And I think what will, crazy interest about Jon Fosse, Axel says. Well, to be honest, when I first heard, I listened to the BBC News, and I thought they said Bob Fosse. And I was quite thrilled. But of course it was Jon Fosse. Okay, so we're going to keep on editing, and we'll cut off the live stream now, but stay with us. We're on Telegram, we're on the Etherpad, and we'll be working for a few hours yet. And if you want to sign up for the gift card prize draw, do so before midnight. Okay.
Can I send with you a last encouraging word? I just shared the link in the chat. About 12 years ago, I had the opportunity to interview some of the Nobel laureates when they were giving their presentations in Stockholm. And so I interviewed the winner of physics and economics and chemistry, I think, and Holger Moskow, who was filming, made a best of, because when I said I came from Wikipedia and wanted to do an interview, they all were really eager to say how they liked Wikipedia and how much they thought it was a good idea. So it's kind of a highlight reel for people who say Wikipedia can't be trusted, and you can show them this, although 12 years old, but still Nobel laureates saying they use Wikipedia. They tell their students in classes to use Wikipedia. To Brian Schmidt said that we got to get a good picture up on the Wikipedia article as soon as he was announced winner. So it's a good film for getting people to realize the value of Wikipedia.
Thank you, Axel. We'll make sure to watch it. And well, I guess happy editing, everyone, and stay in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.